Don't miss out on the Tom Proctor Show. Click subscribe button and don't forget to push the bell. That way you'll get notified when we're on next. 3-Chord Bourbon would like to remind you all to sip responsibly. I was born the son of an outlaw, natural quick dry am. Hey everybody, I'm Tom Proctor, and I'd like to invite you into my world, and I mean my complete and everything world. I'm going to cover everything from the acting that I've been in and the business and everything of that nature, to my personal life, to my new band life, to everything like that. I just like to invite you here. There's a lot of people that say, how did you get into the film business? And there's a lot of people that will kind of feel like, oh, you know, you have to do this, you have to do that. And there's a lot of have to do's, but a lot of the have to do's are have to do bullshit, period. I was told, because I grew up in a small town up by the Oquirrh Mountains, Utah, that you can't be a movie star. And I wanted to get into movies for the very same reason, and thought I could for the very same reason that I found out later Quentin Tarantino got in the movie business. It was all over a film called Billy Jack. And I had that be my validation for the fact that I can do this, because Billy Jack trained in Hapkido under Bong Soo-han. And I, in my small town, trained under a guy who trained under another guy, who knew a guy who trained under a guy, who trained under another guy, who trained under Bong Soo-han, and our style was Hapkido. So that meant I trained under the same guy, sort of, that Billy Jack trained under, and I was just really excited about it. So I kept getting told, well, you know, that they don't make movies here, there's not this, there's not that, it's not going to happen. But I'm going to tell you a little something about the universe. You put out there, I want to do this, I'm going to do this, and the universe is a wonderful lady. She's going to make it happen for you. With me, it happened when, with Punch and Cattle, accidentally rode on to the first movie set we was ever involved in. And because our clothes were kind of homemade and period, and my rifle, I always rode with a 44-40 Henry rifle and a 44-40 pistol and everything like that. They thought we were part of the movie set, and that's what kicked the career off. So I started out in Westerns using all my horse talents and stuff like that. Then as I went on, I found out everything I did in life transferred to this wonderful business we call acting. My hunting experience, living in the mountains, my motorcycle riding experience, both dirt bikes, Harleys. I did drag bikes, did the Widowmaker hill climb, raced Manning Cycle Park, and desert race. I was a sponsored rider for Bull Taco of Utah. And all of that came into play in this unique and wonderful industry. Now, there was the second part. You had to actually be able to act. And acting is a simple process, it really is. You think, all I got to do is say these lines, and you got people not only telling you which line to say, but where to say it. They mark your place, everything like that. But it's more difficult. It's like this conversation we're having right now. I'm sitting here, I have to think about what I'm going to say next and how I'm going to get that point across. Everything's a sales pitch. And in a script, somebody else writes those words. So you memorize those words. But I have seen a lot of script people that read the script like they have memorized the words and knew what they're going to say next, and that is what they do, because the script says that's what they're going to do. And they're gonna get upset right now because the script said so. No. You take that situation, you make it you. You ask yourself, what would I do in that situation? What What would I have to change about my history? I play a lot of slave movies, 12 Years a Slave, Birth of a Nation. I play bad guys. You'll see, most of people recognize me from Guardians of the Galaxy, Justified, two different types of bad guys. You know, heal people in that. I was in Nashville. That's how I got my music started, believe it or not, by being on the television show Nashville, meeting the right people there. That got my first album produced. So then as you get going, you think, God, I really want to branch out besides, playing something besides the racist white guy, the redneck killer, and everything like that. And once in a great while, you get to do a fun little film like Looks That Kill, where I played the psychiatrist. And we'll show you some clips of that. And the psychiatrist is trying to convince the kid that he is not so good looking that he kills people. It's okay to say that because the movie's out. There's some of the movies I'm involved in right now that I can't say what they're about because they're not out yet, so they have NDAs and all of that stuff. But what my point is here, what I'm trying to get across to everybody is if you will just decide, I'm going to do this. Whatever it is, whatever your dream is, whatever your passion is, decide, I'm going to do this. And you can do this. You can make it happen. You can be Jordan and Nick sitting in the middle of St. George, Utah and say, I want to run a 2-camera shoot and be part of a camera crew. Did you guys say that?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Jordan's nodding. Jordan only nods. We don't get much talk out of Jordan, but when he talks, he says things like, sometimes he gets real emotional and goes, but Jordan does talk. He just does it in kind of a body language. Anyway, and here we are making a television show. And it's a television show about what happened to Tom Proctor that got him where he's at, his rises, his falls, his disappointments, his all of that stuff. Yes, I was terribly disappointed when I did a write-in for president and didn't win. So I'll be back on that. But anyway, you have to put it out to the universe, and then you have to put the work behind it. I went and trained in acting classes and all of that stuff. And there's ways to train in acting classes, even if you're not in areas where you can. When stuntmen, I did a lot of stunts. Stuntmen get together. They get a film coming in that's got a stunt. They get in their backyard and they practice those gags. They practice the fights. They practice air rams and doing mini tramps and flatbacks and flipping and all of that stuff. But actors, for some reason, wait until they get an acting job and then call me to coach them for their audition. They should be picking scenes, picking friends, and videoing those things, doing the scenes and being their own acting coach. Because all an acting coach is an outside eye that can tell you this is what you need to work on, this is what you don't need to work on. So we are going to cover a lot of that, a lot of the ins and outs and things actors do. We're going to have a whole section of a thing that I like to call time in a bottle. Now, what would time in a bottle be? In the acting industry, we so fight to stay young. A lot of you guys just coming in, 20-year-old, 30-year-olds, you don't have that fight, but you will. It catches up to you real soon. And oh my God, will we buy any wrinkle cream, anything that somebody puts on Facebook and says, you could lose 10 years off your life. We will buy that. We will buy anything that says, you can cure male pattern baldness. I'm going to show you right now the quick fix, the only thing I found that does cure male pattern baldness. You can be going bald. You can be losing your hair. Go to gonecountry.com. Nope, that's not a pitch for our sponsors at gonecountry.com. I would never, ever, lower myself to pitch GoneCountry.com because they, are sponsors for cowboy hats for me and my band. But they do have good cowboy hats. It does cure male pattern baldness immediately. Later on in some episodes, we're going to give you some other things that actually work. We're going to give you a lot of things that actually don't work. One little hair growth pill that's supposed to just help with your hair that I found helps my digestive system, and I've dropped like 15 pounds on it. So, yeah, there's that. Anyway, I'm hoping that you guys will all tune in with us and go along for the journey. We're going to take you out and tell you all about my amazing circle of friends here, my guitars. Starting with the one that started me down the music career that I won in an arm wrestling contest. That one right there, that little ovation. To the Molten guitar, the Immortal guitars, to closed guitars. Now, the neat things about my guitar, this one, made in Provo, Utah, by a bunch of very innovative guys, the closed guitar. This one here is a King Vulture guitar. I call it my hillbilly, and you will find out why. Made by Drew Swan up in Canada. And we got of course, there's Fender Strat. Just anybody who collects guitars got to have a Stratocaster, good old American made. This one here is a Blue Ridge. We bought that just to support mom and pop shops. One other thing that we support on this show, and I want to just cover this briefly and get you guys' support on it as well. All Tom Proctor concerts will in some way be a benefit for suicide prevention for our veterans and first responders through Life's Worth Living Foundation. You guys can help with that just by texting VET, dial 435-294-3317. Then just text VET. You can donate $1, you can donate $2. The thing I like about these guys, John Gossett has a nonprofit. When you have a nonprofit, you have to designate how much of the profit goes to Ag Band, how much is being paid to those guys. His is zero. And I personally watched him actually save lives and do things by building handicap ramps and things for people that had failed at suicide and making their life better by helping with getting people into drug rehab and alcohol rehab, things that actually do save lives. So please be in support of that. Our veterans went over there, and right or wrong, whether you believe in what the government sent them after or not, they did do it for us. Want you to tune in with us every week. It's going to be different subject. We don't know what. And God bless you. We'll see you here next week. Don't miss out on the Tom Proctor Show. Click subscribe button, and don't forget to push the bell. That way you'll get notified when we're on next.